Last week somebody asked me to make a video of how the 180 or 178 belly planter mounts under a Farmall Super A. And this is how I've got mine set up on my Super A. There's a crossbar on the belly planter, which is that part there. Anyway, the crossbar goes from your lifting arm on the right hand side over to the left hand side. And this bracket here mounts underneath your cultivator arm. It has a beveled nut that sits here and comes up through this hole here, and then you slide it back into that space to hold the weight until you can tighten the nut down. As far as the drive for the belly planter, I have the IH duplex planter on my tractor, and it has this bracket here, which is the typical mounting bracket, but I don't know if any of this section here is different from the I think it's called a POX or a Polk planter, but like I said, I have an IH duplex planter there, and mine mounts on this drive. On this drive here, you have either 7 stubs that drive it, or you can get a plate that has 9, or you can get a plate that has 12. I have the 12 nub plate also, and a friend of mine has a 9 nub, and he 3D printed me a 9 nub drive that goes on here out of a I think it's, I'm not sure if it's PLA or ABS or whatever, but anyway, the chain drive hooks on the left rear tractor, goes up to the drive on the other side of this shaft, and comes across to this sprocket here. And when you raise and lower your cultivating arm, you can see this lever here comes up and hooks on this lifting arm for your hydraulic unit, and that actuates the spring on this crossbar going back across the cross drive. And there's a nut on the other side that has to be free in order to slide in and out. It's hard to see right there, but that sprocket has 4 drive teeth on it right here where I'm pointing, and it only drives in one direction. The other direction it'll slip and bypass. But that gear that I'm pointing at, when you lower your planter into the ground, this drive comes over and engages this drive here on the chain from the rear axle. Okay, like I say, be careful to watch that, because if your teeth on your planter aren't turning, it's probably because that 4-tooth drive on the other side there needs to be cleaned up and greased and everything. But anyway, back to this side. This is the like I said, the base mounts on the side of the tractor here, right behind the starter, and your side dresser mounts up on the side of the bell housing. But anyway, the drive from the rear wheel comes across the tractor on this axle here, and then is driven by these chains, goes to the inside sprocket on the planter, and then the outside sprocket, the one toward the right hand side of the planter, goes up. You've got a adjuster or whatever here. It should actually have a spring or whatever on it, but I don't really need it on mine. Just the weight of it holds it down, but you can put a spring on there, and then that goes up to your side dresser and drives your side dresser. Anyway, hope that helps explain part of what's going on. You've also got this tension here, which I've never fooled with, but that's a tension for how much down pressure when you lower your sward here into the ground, planting corn or whatever. I try to lower mine about 1.5 to 2 inches, and then this somehow this spring on this shaft here somehow tensions and puts down pressure on that rear covering wheels back there that cover your seat up. Anyway, hope this helps. If not, send me a reply back and I'll try to make another video. But on this planter, I don't know about the 178, it's also got a cuff up here on the front that if you wanted to, you could put a plow in there, or I've got a short sword that you can mount in there, and you can, on mine, I typically just put my, mount my side dresser tube here on the edge of my rolling cultivator, and then the rolling cultivator throws dirt up, and it covers that fertilizer as I'm putting it in the ground. Like I said, when I'm planting or whatever, I don't side dress. I probably should. I should try to get this set up here in the front so that I'm actually injecting the fertilizer below the seed when I'm planting. I'll try to show you that injector that I've got. Also, this chain, I had to buy some extra from Tractor Supply, and I think a 10-foot roll of it was like 80 bucks. Hopefully you don't have to buy any, but it's the smaller of the two chains that Tractor Supply carries. See if I can find that injector real quick. Yeah, here it is. Like I said, I could use that to inject the fertilizer below the seed, and I've also seen people just use a real narrow plow or sweep and inject it with that. See if I've got one here in the bin of stuff that I've got, if it's handy. Yep. Here's another one of those injectors I was telling you about, and this one's actually got a thing on the back of it that pulls the dirt back in over the fertilizer when you're injecting it. I was trying to find one of those real narrow shanks. If anybody's got any idea what this thing is used for, it's just a round cone shape attached to a shank, and like I said, I have absolutely no idea what it is, but it came with a box of implements that I got when I bought my 140 last year. Anyway, can't seem to find that other injector right now, but you know, like I said, it's just a real narrow plow or whatever. Anyway, here's the 140 that I got when I bought that box of, or got that box of parts when I bought it. Got my 5-gang rolling cultivators mounted up on it. Super A is there. My father-in-law, 94-year-old father-in-law, that's his Super AV there. I need a set of tires for it. Don't know if you can see that tire there that's coming apart, but I can't justify $1,200 for a set of tires to go on this old tractor. Picked up another Super AV, I think 2 years ago, down in Defuniak. And last spring I got this 140 high clearance down in Dade City, Florida, close to where we live. and put the rolling cultivator or the rolling hillers on it this morning, and hilled up the garden. I'm going to try flooding it. I cut the garden yesterday or last Friday with a 12-foot old international disc that cuts about 10 inches deep, and the ground's powder dry 10 inches down. And this is the Super AV that I bought last year, and tires are on it are better than the ones on my father-in-law's AV. And I picked up this little 5-foot double gang disc last year to put on the back of it. It was kind of partially somewhat set up for a 3-point hitch. Anyway, was able to mount this 3-point hitch disc on it, and it cuts really well. I've got a balance, or a I don't know what you call it, a disc off of an excavator over here that weighs about 100 or 150 pounds, and I was planning on putting it on the back of the 5-foot disc there if it needed it, but so far it cuts plowed ground in the garden really well. Cuts all the way down to the center hubs on the axles, so it doesn't need any extra weight. But that's a few of the tractors. I got a 100 at home in Florida that's not here, but that's all my Farmalls. Thank you. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye.